Namaste. My name is Manisha Singh, Assistant Professor in Food and Biotechnology Department under Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences in Jyoti Vidyapith Women's University, Jaipur. I am teaching you subject Fruits and Vegetable Processing Technology for class BSc FND 4th semester and BTech FPT and MTech FPT. Basically, it is an integrated course 4th semester. In our previous session, we will discuss about the controlled atmosphere storage and modified atmosphere storage. I hope it will clear to all. Now, today we will discuss about the canning of fruits and vegetable. In this, it is a thermal processing, and thermal processing is basically a food sterilization technique in which the food is heated at a temperature high enough to destroy the microbes and the enzymes. The specific amount of time required depends upon the specific food and the growth habits of the enzymes or the microbes. Okay, so in today's topic, we just only discuss about the canning. So let's start with the canning. What is canning? Canning is the preservation of food in permanent, hermetically sealed containers of metal glass, thermostable plastic, or a multi-layered flexible pouch through agency of heat. Heating is the principal factor to destroy the microorganisms, and the permanent sealing is to prevent reinfection. That's why it is a thermal processing, because heat is involved there. Next is containers required for canned foods. The container plays a vital role in food canning. It must be capable of being hermetically sealed to prevent entry of microorganisms, impermeable to liquid and gases including water vapor, maintain the state of biological stability that was induced by the thermal process alone or in combination with other physical and chemical processes. So physically protect the contents against the damage during transportation, storage, and the distribution. Then the can materials. Wide varieties of materials are used now for manufacture of cans for meat and poultry preservation. Yet metal containers remains the most frequent used package for the canning food. Number one is the steel. So tin plate, tin free steel and nickel plated steel coated with a very thin film of tin are the materials used to manufacture metal food cans. The amount of tin used being only about 1.5% of the can's weight and should not contain more than 1% lead. It is used to prevent rusting. To prevent interaction between meat product and the metal, cans are coated on the inside with an organic material. Two general kinds of organic coatings are used in the food industry. One is acid resistant and second is sulfur resistant. For acid resistant coated cans are used primarily for the fruits, and meat products are generally packed in cans that have been lined with sulfur resistant materials. Next type of material used is aluminium, then plastic, and then glass containers and metal closures. Although the wide variety of containers for canned foods, the metal ones are always preferable as it has high conductivity of heat. It cannot easily be broken, being opaque, so any possible bad effects of light on the foodstuffs are avoided. Be able to withstand the stresses imposed during the thermal processing and cooling, and it is able to withstand the subsequent handling, which includes the transportation, storage, and distribution. Next is important food groups. According to the food groups, the metal can or the type of can is classified or used. Next is number one type of food group is low acid foods. So meat, fish, poultry, dairy fall into a pH range of 5.0 to 6.8. This large group is commonly referred to as the low acid group. Next is acid foods. As the name indicates, the pH value between the 4.5 and 3.7. That means fruits such as pear, oranges, apricots, and tomatoes fall in this category. Third category is high acid foods. such as pickled products, fermented foods. The pH values range from 3.7 down to 2.3. Also, jams and jellies are in this classification. So, preservation of meat by high temperature canning commercial sterilized canned meat, in which all or most bacteria are killed. Complete sterility is seldomly achieved in the fact that certain microorganisms form spores, which may be heat resistant, to destroy the spores of certain thermophiles, which require a degree of heating which would greatly lower the organoleptic characteristics of canned meat products. Next is the canning operations. For preparatory process, receiving and storage of raw materials, then preparation procedures. In preparation procedures, there is a thawing, boning, cutting, trimming. Then the production processes have, first is blanching. In blanching, this is a heat treatment given to many foods prior to canning in hot water basically of 100 degrees Celsius for 1.5 to 5 minutes, and it may extend to 9 to 11 minutes in some types of fruits and vegetables. Basically, it is different for different fruits and vegetables. Blanching has significance to inactivate enzyme reaction, which may occur during preparation periods, aids in cleaning, expels internal gases, aids in filling of containers by shrinkage or softening of the foods. It assures adequate can vacuum, destroys many vegetative microbial cells, and steam blanching is preferable than the hot water. Okay, then after that, there is a mixing with addition of suitable ingredients. Then after blanching, the fruits and vegetables are filling in the can, and the mix is then transferred to automatic piston type filters and packed into the appropriate cans on the fill line with required weight. The headspace volume or the depth should be checked due to its critical factor in the attainment of an appropriate vacuum closure. Such process should be carefully controlled due to economic aspect, efficiency of exhausting procedure, rate of heat penetration. Then in exhausting and sealing, exhaustion or removal of air from the can before it is sealed, it is necessary because it is to prevent expansion of the contents during processing, which may force the seam, to produce concave can ends so that any internal pressure may be readily detected and the can rejected, to lower the amount of oxygen in the can and prevent discoloration of the food surface. Then to reduce chemical action between the food and the container and the hydrogen swells, and to prevent internal corrosion of the cans. Therefore, exhausting is an important process. Exhausting can be done by thermal exhausting, which is also known as steam vacuum, and by the mechanical exhausting, which is also known as machine vacuum. Okay, after that washing of the can, after the cans are closed, they pass through a detergent spray washer to remove grease and other materials. The washing should consist of hot water, then by suitable pre-rinse detergent spray wash, followed by a fresh warm water immerse. Then there is a thermal processing. The cans must be processed, that is heat treated immediately after closing, hermetic sealed at suitable time and temperature. Food to be canned is threatened on the one hand by bacterial spoilage and on the other hand by danger of lower the nutritive quality by overheating. Vegetative bacteria are killed at 80 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, spore formers at temperature 110 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, for destroying the spores 121 degrees Celsius for 3 minutes. Then the total time required to sterilize canned food is largely depends upon the size of the can, processing temperature, rate of heat penetration at the center of the can, and the pH of the food, and the type and number of organisms present in the can. During processing, heat penetrates to the center of the can by conduction and by convection currents. Okay. After that, cooling. Immediately after processing, the cans are cooled in water to a temperature of 36 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius to avoid the thermophilic spoilage or can rust. If the cans are cooled much below 36 degrees Celsius, they may not dry thoroughly and rusting will result. If the cans are cased at temperatures much over 42 degrees Celsius, thermophilic spoilage may occur, and only potable water, as defined in international standards of drinking water, should be used in food handling or as an ingredient. After container washing, cans have just been cooled, are dirty and greasy on the outside, and are therefore washed in a bath with detergent and then rinsed to facilitate subsequent handling. Then after container drying, cooled cans should be immediately dried, as the externally dry seams and closures are almost free from microbial infection. One method that has been found to be quite efficient is the heated bed dryer, which rolls cans over a surface heated by steam to 127 to 130 degrees Celsius, covered by an absorbent cloth. Contaminating bacteria are rapidly killed at these temperatures. Then there is a step which is outside lacquering. Commercial lacquer or enamel is a colored varnish containing vegetable or synthetic resin. Lacquer may be applied to the outside of the can to prevent the external corrosion. Okay. Then after labeling and casing, the role of label is to inform, and the information can be grouped as product identification. Basically, you should know, the consumer should know what he is going to buy, and brand name, a distinctive name protected by trademark, net contents by weights or the volume, list of ingredients including additives as per the appropriate regulation, nutritional information, country of origin if the product was not processed in the country in which it will be offered or sale. Then production date and the shelf life should be clarified. Then after casing, casing is basically protective casing. Containers are usually cased immediately after labeling. Casing, which was formerly a manual operation, is now highly automated in most canneries. Next is storage and shelf life. Commercially sterile canned products should be placed in a cool, dry place, since both relative humidity and temperature influence their keeping quality. The storage place must be dry, preferably no more than 30 to 40% relative humidity. The temperatures of sterile canned meat products should not be above 21.1 degrees Celsius, because higher temperatures markedly accelerate deterioration during storage, thus limiting the shelf life. Okay. In today's session, we were discussed about the steps of canning, which comes under the thermal processing. In your exam, question may be asked like explain the canning of fruits and vegetable, or you may given a one fruit like apple, pear, pineapple, or any vegetable, for example carrots and beans. Then you have to can them from starting to the end, and this will be asked in your exam. That is enough for the today's session. If you have any query, then you may ask by in the comment section, by writing it in a comment section. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video.